Looking fantastic. Cool. Cool. Zoom you guys in just a little bit as well. Perfect. Okay. Now, this is going to be a literally every single step tutorial. Hi, my name's Paint with Josh. Nice to see you again. It's looking fantastic already today. Now, since this is a literally every single step tutorial, quote unquote, we're going to be using our Bob Ross liquid white on our nice dry 18 by 24 inch canvas. We're going to dip it in just about that much. We don't need it really dripping off of the brush, just about that much. Not too much paint onto our brush, not all the way into the jar. That would be way too much. I'm gonna pick it up, drop it off in different areas, and then we're going to start to blend it out and make sure our entire canvas becomes wet with this white paint. Now, I've been getting a lot of questions recently about what is liquid white, what does it do, do you have to have it in order to paint like you, Josh? And the answers are yes, it makes the canvas wet, and yes, right? You have to have it in order to paint like us, okay? You need the canvas to be wet because the canvas being wet is going to allow all of our thicker paints to blend and move and slide across. And as you can see, we're just literally scrubbing it on with all sorts of force, pushing the brush, like full pressure on the brush without really lifting it off. You don't want to be going like this. You're going to flip the stuff everywhere, right? So figure eights without picking up your brush off of the canvas. And come down here, we'll mix in all this color, mix it, mix it, mix it, just to have all of our white covering the canvas. Now I'm going to show you exactly how to test it and make sure. And if you put a little coat of liquid white around the edges of your canvas, it's going to really help make it easier to get that color to go around the edge, right? So come out here, tap it down, tap it down, tap it down. Just so we've got a little bit. You can see we only used our one dip into the thing to cover this entire canvas. Never even had to go back to the char, right? Our brush pushed real hard on it, bent those bristles real far, spreading out this paint very evenly across our canvas. Now, how do you test it, Josh? Well, come up here and you tap in, right? Anywhere should be the exact same. So if we tap in every corner and the center of the canvas, we're gonna have the exact amount of paint that was there before, right? Just like that. Gord, I have to like twist my thumb to show you, but it's the same amount of paint. You can still see all the little dimples of the little black spots inside that white. If you were to go up here and touch it and it covers your entire glove or your entire fingerprint disappears, then you've got way too much on there and you're going to want to wipe it off with our paper towels. Now we're going to be only using 4 colors for this awesome little winter mountain scene, which is our ultramarine blue, our alizarin crimson, midnight black, titanium white. You do not need to have ultramarine blue or midnight black. You can have ivory black or lamp black or Mars black or whatever, or Prussian blue or phthalo blue. Doesn't matter, right? They don't have to be the same. Now we're going to pull down on our ultramarine blue. This is from Master's Touch ultramarine blue onto our brush that already has the liquid white on it, right? Didn't have to wash it in between. Let's get out here and we'll start popping it on and dragging it, long strokes, long streaks, right? We're going to drop off all that thicker paint up here in the top so it'll be a bit darker. And as it streaks away and blends in with the white, it becomes a bit lighter, right? Now, depending on how much paint is on your brush, you could have it be very dark, vibrantly dark blue, or you could use less and let it intermix in with that liquid white more and allow it to be a more faint blue, right? It is all up to you guys. Can you see my hand in here like an alien? That's because that little beam in the center is what's making this mark right here. And if you can't get rid of that, right? Put your hand out there, push towards us a little bit, and then blend across. And that way you're not contacting that little beam. Now, sometimes, depending on your canvas, the cheaper canvases, right, the beam is much closer to the back of the canvas. The more expensive canvases, the much more room you're going to have in between. So, if you ever run into that, because I use those cheap old canvases just like you guys, you want to know why? Do you know why I use these little canvases, the same things that come in a little multi-pack? Why do we use those, Josh? You're a professional artist, Josh. Why would you use the cheapest canvases? Because I don't want you guys thinking that I'm using some special professional canvas that takes, you know, that's $80 just for the canvas, so then it comes out a certain way, right? No, I'm showing you the exact same stuff to get, the exact same stuff that I use, and we use the cheap old canvases, guys, seriously. All right, same as you, so it comes out exactly the same. literally, right? If you follow along with these tutorials, it will come out exactly the same. You don't even need to have the same colors or anything, right? And you'll get this really cool little scene pop out of your canvas out here. Canvas is canvas. Don't give me nothing about that, okay? Now, let's come back up here. We're gonna grab a little touch of our black. I'm talking about one little bit. You see that little blob of black onto the end? And I'm gonna come down here and I'm gonna tap on that blob. And so it kind of extends out. It's a little bit more onto my brush, flattens it out more evenly. That way I'm not gonna leave this big giant streak. And you can see that black color up there? If we have too much of that black color up there, or too much of it down here, right, then it's gonna be really dark on our canvas. If there's too much on the brush, let's come back and dab the brush off on a paper towel. We do not have to clean the brush between every go. You guys, I'm a lazy old painter. Right? I do not want to have to clean the brush that often if we don't need to. So we dab it off on a paper towel, removing the majority of the paint, okay? Then we'll come up here and we'll start our little crisscrossies. The more pressure you push into the canvas, the more it's going to mix it away. The less pressure you go across it, the more it's not going to mix away. So you get to decide, how do you want your mix, right? The ladies have an advantage over us fellas, because they're used to blending their makeup and all that stuff, right? So they have this advantage over us. We've got to basically mix it together to where you can't really tell where one starts and one stops. That's blending, right? I'm always trying to come up with a different way of explaining it so somebody goes, oh, right? Let's come out here. We're gonna grab a little bit of our titanium white. Our titanium white. Out here in the night. We get a fair amount of paint onto it, right? That's a good amount of paint onto that brush right there, because it's going to blend in with this blue and gray and all that stuff as soon as we contact it onto the canvas, right? So let's stay over that dark area. I'm gonna go above it. I come out here, big old thing, big old mush, bang, right? We don't want to put on too much paint out here. And where we first contact, let's come back there and just mix it up a little bit more. Literally, whatever you want to do, honestly. So many ways to paint clouds. Whatever shape you want. All right, let's get out here. Let's launch in a whole other bigger little thing. Bang! Up there, maybe it gets a little taller. Maybe it goes out here. Just literally scrubbing it, spinning the brush over, back, forward, trying to remove. It's like I'm literally trying to wipe the brush off and get that color to stick onto our canvas, right? Now we're gonna go back, and even with our big old 2-inch brush, you don't have to use the 1-inch brush just because it's smaller. You can if you're more comfortable with that. But even with this big old guy, we can be very light along the top, and you can see how only a few bristles are contacting the canvas. I'm not straight onto it like this, using all these bristles. That's when we're blending out our sky, right? When we're up here, we just want just a little circle, and very light pressure along the top. The lighter pressure that we can get along our top edge, and the more pressure we can push in along our bottom edge, is going to leave it light to dark. It's going to help it fade. Right? Out here, it's not just a straight steam rolling, right? We're not just starting from one area and just pushing it until it's done like cement, right? Maybe we come up over here and we drag it back this way, or we come up on this side and we drag it across here, grab this little bit of paint and pull it back over here. We're never staying in the same places for too long, right? If you're out there and you just continue to mix in one place, one place, one place, one place, you keep making circles, it will disappear. It will leave us forever, right? So you've got to decide as you're mixing on the fly, right? As you're making each one of these little rotations, when to stop mixing, right? All up to you. Every time you have the power to come back and make it brighter, or the power to blend it all away if you want to. All up to you guys and your pressure. We always talk about the 3 P's of paint with Josh. Maybe we haven't said it in a while. So let's just see how many of y'all pay attention. What are the 3 P's of paint with Josh? Type it out right now in the comments. There's 3 words. They all start with P, right? There's the first one, there's the second one, and there's the third one. Here we go. And it literally goes into whether you're painting animals, mountains, trees, a face, a portrait, whatever, right? 3 P's of paint with Josh transcend all mediums and all subjects, okay? Now, who knows the 3 P's? Let me see if you guys even know. You guys know? We got paint, Yeah, paint, pressure, practice, Bev. You're the first person I saw say it right. Not to mean that you were the first person, just the first person I saw say it. Right? Paint, pressure, practice. Anna over there. Berg's over there. D, I feel you guys. Lisa. Patience, that's number 4. Right? We don't talk about number 4. We don't talk about that old patience, right? But it's more about the practice, because with practice, you're going to start getting more and more and more paintings under your belt, right? You'll be like, another painting, another painting, another painting. And the more that you do, the more you'll be patient with yourself, because you'll know what it's going to be, how it's going to, doesn't necessarily have to look like it does when you first put it up there, right? It's all up to us every time, but it all comes down to that practice, okay? Now, since we're only using 4 colors out of all these are gone. Don't even look. Stop looking right here. Stop. I told you, don't look. Stop. Don't look right here. We're only looking right here in these 4 colors, okay? So, we're going to come out here, we're going to take a good old chunk of blue, and I'm going to call that 2 times, right? Just whatever size it is. Then I'm going to get the same size crimson, right? So 2 times crimson, 2 times blue, and then I'm going to get half the black, so 1 part black, right? 2 to 2 to 1. We're going to mix it up into this really dark color. Now, let's say you grabbed a lot of blue and a lot of crimson and not that much black. It's going to be a little bit more purple. Let's say you grab less crimson and more blue and black. It's going to be darker, right? It's all up to us and all up to your mix every time. Do you see that? What a perfect little flip the Paint with Josh palette knife. Let me tell you, let's come in here. We're going to pull down on our paint like this, trying to wipe off the blade. Then we'll wipe it off on paper towel so it's nice and clean, and we have a nice flat steam-rolled area of paint to roll from, right? So we can come in here, scoop up, and depending on how thick the paint is in that little place, depends on how much you're going to scoop up onto your blade. Now let's decide. We got this crazy old thing. Let's come in here like that and just get big. Let's get big with it, okay? The more white that's out there in your sky, the more it's going to want to make that color brighter. Right? So, if you want it to stand out, you got to get up in there. There we go. A little bit of paint out there. It's falling down. There's one little hump right there. It'll fall down this way. Just let that whole thing kind of grow down, and it can get as big as it wants to get. That's the whole fun of it, right? What if we wanted to be bigger? There. Right? Go up and fill it. Fill these little things out here, and as we come down, let's pop in just a couple little imperfections. That way it's not this perfect old little mountain shape. Maybe one little more little hump down here, who knows. This gets a little bit taller up than itself, and then we're gonna flatten it out, scooping up all this paint, taking it way the heck out here. Now, if we have a lot of paint up here on this mountain, it's going to grow forever, right? So let's say if I had all this darkness up here like this, it was very dark, and I push on that with my brush, it really grow. So we're gonna change the angle of our blade and scoop up and remove the paint that we just put down, right? Sort of in the direction that we're gonna pull it with our brush. And once we've gone in, kind of scooped up all that excess stuff, right? Then we can decide where we wanna have. Maybe on this back side, I wanna have a little bit more of that heavier paint back in here. Over there, whatever, just to help it be darker when I slide off into my darker side of my sky, okay? Now, let's come up here, take our big old 2-inch brush, can even have all that liquid white on it, grab it up on its one side, and pull it down, right? Maybe over here, zip, come up and meet it, zap, zoop. See, we're getting flatter. We went from this crazy sharp to a little bit left, to a little bit flat, to a little bit flatter as you go down your mountainside, right? We are in control of how far it slides down, how big it is, this, that, and the other, all up to us. Let's grab it off its front side, right up there along the edge. Slide it down, zip, pull it off this way, right? If we can come up here and meet it at that little ridge and slide it down, we can determine how big it gets, how far it grows, this, that, and the other. And it's only based off of how we're pulling our brush. That's if we're pulling our brush in this direction, the land's going to look like it's sloping that way. We're pulling our brush in this direction, it's going to look like it's coming down this way, right? All up to us. Every time that we want to do it is another chance to come back and do it a little different, right? Now, down here at the base, you can literally let all that paint kind of fall off. And if you end up running into that little beam, right, just kind of push out, remember? Got a little alien hand back there that will push outwards towards the thing with a very flat hand like this. Just push it out a little bit. Far enough away from the beam to where you're not hitting it with the brush. All right, mix it out down there. Take this guy and go way down there. Just mix it, mix it, mix it, mix it, mix it. Go nice and soft. Already, it's gonna look like we have this foggy, misty area underneath our mountain, especially when we come back and pop in our little trees, right? Now, this mountain is supposed to be big, so don't worry if yours is getting a little bit enormous. That is perfectly fine, okay? We're gonna come in here, we're gonna grab up a good amount of white, a little amount of blue, right? Maybe like a 90-10, probably about 90-10 right there. We're gonna mix it up. Now, this already, I can tell, is not dark enough, so let's go 80-20. There we go, right? You want it to match your blue sky color. So imagine, turn this guy like this. It's a pretty even match on our blue sky color, right? Very cool. Turn this one back over. Remember, you can get these black Paint with Josh palettes and clear Paint with Josh palettes. One of them says Special Edition Paint with Josh in the night. And the other one that's clear just says Paint with Josh make a mess on it, right? So, whichever one you want. They're both amazing. I've used them both. I prefer the black one. It just looks cooler, right? This looks cool. Now, we've made up our blue shadowy color of our paint, okay? And before we use it all up, let's come over here and grab twice the amount of white that we grabbed the first time, and then one little sneak of that very light blue color. And we'll mix it up down here. I want the white to be off white, right? I don't want it to be pure white. I want it to have a tiny, tiny, tiny twinge of blue into the paint, right? Obviously, you don't want it to be the same color, because then they're gonna look exactly the same. Now, because our darker part of our sky is over here and our brighter part of our sky is over here, we're going to imagine all of our light hitting it from the left side, casting all the shadows down the right side. We're going to come into our paint, we're going to scoop up, and depending on how much you have right there, right? That is an enormous, there we go. There we go. That is an enormous amount of paint, right? Enormous. So, I'm going to judge based on how much that is, about how much distance I need to stay away from my canvas, right? So if I come up here, and I attach that little guy, and we just float him all the way down, floating, 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 right? It's taken away about half because I'm not pushing in, right? So now I've got to float even closer because there's less paint on the blade, and now it's gone down to where there's basically nothing left, right? So wipe that guy off, come back in, grab another little roll, and now imagine, based on how big that roll is, talking height-wise, right? That's how far we have to stay away from the canvas. So we come up here again. Now I'm going to match my blade, that sharp edge of my blade, against this ridge. Right? So come up here and touch it and float it. Right? How much paint is on the blade? How much pressure are you pushing? How quickly are you going? I tend to go fast, right? If you're going fast, it tends to break a little bit more naturally for me, right? So you get that, and you don't want to cover in every space. Whoever told you out there that you got to cover up every spot with your snow is a big fibber, okay? I'm telling you right now. Come back over here again. Scoop it up, look at it, and go, okay, it's about, there we go. It's about that far off the top of the blade, so I have to float that far away from the canvas, okay? And down here, changing the angle. See, it was like that. Now we're much more flat. We're gonna pull it out flatter over here, right? So we're just floating it. Float it, float it, float it, float it, float it. The more you go over it, the more you're going to get rid of those little breaky bits, because we're going to fill everything in and it'll be too heavy, right? So try not to go over them too many times. Take it down to the edge, however far you want to go. You want to come out here, very flat, right? Very, very light pressure until you actually have to push by the time it's all gone, because all of it's fallen off there, right? Again, we're going to have some trees over here, so we don't really need to take the snow all the way to the edge, but just to show you that you could. Right? Now let's get our last little touch. I think I've already used the last bit of blue. I'm going to one little touch of blue, just kind of off the back side of this guy. Right? Just back in here. It's not a very big projection, but we have to have some sort of difference in the color. Otherwise, it's all going to be white, and it's all going to look like it's all flowing the same way. Right? Now we're going to go down to our quote-unquote white snow that was mixed with a very small amount of this blue. Scoop this guy up, and again, judge based on how big of that pile it is, right? And we float that far away, and come up and connect, and just float it, right? Now, look at that. Perfect example of the paint being taken away by the canvas, right? It even picked up some of that purplish mountain color, right? And I still have a little bit left. So if we came down here, just let it float, float, float down. however much we want, okay? Now, we normally like to start up here at the chip chop. Start dropping it on very flatly, okay? The more that you put up there, and the more chunky it is on the top, it can get very heavy up there, right? Very heavy. So we're just trying to lightly dump some stuff on and leave some spaces of difference is all. It doesn't all have to look exactly the same. Right? Who said that? Who said that it has to be all filled in and all look exactly alike? No one in the history of landscape painting should have ever told you that it should all be the same. Now we can take this guy up here, slide him down, throw some bits of brightness up in there. How far can we get it to extend? It's all up to us. How far do you want it to go? Come in here, let's go a little flat, there we go. Flat now, so now we're going literally horizontal because we're way down here at the base. We're pulling at a different angle to make it look different, right? Otherwise, we're just gonna continue to flow down on this crazy sharp A until we're off the camera. You have to eventually flatten out, get some stuff back here to get flat, and then you can decide, do you want to come over here, just like that, right? Pop in a little projection of light as it's reaching around the side. What do you feel like? It's up to you. It's your painting out there. I'm just showing you how to do some cool stuff out here, guys. Right? Now, big old chunk of skin right there. Okay, let's get in with our big old 2-inch brush, and so far we've literally used 3 tools on this painting. All right, and I want you guys to check in and tell me where you're watching from. We've used a 2-inch brush, 1 fan brush, and a palette tool, and that's it. Literally. You don't have to do, like everyone thinks Paint with Josh paintings are so hard. When literally I use barely any colors, barely any tools, because I know not everyone out there has every brush, or every color, or this or that, or maybe you don't, or you can't go drop a whole ton on a brand new set of every brush. You know what I mean? I feel you. I totally get that. Which is why we do limited tool and limited color, and limited palette stuff. Because I need to get this part there. So that would make sense why it's casting that shadow. Just having that extra bit of brightness right there. But if you ever look at one of these paintings, you're like, man, I'm gonna need every color and everything. No, you don't. No, you don't. Josh's paintings are very, very friendly. Very friendly. Oh, that's cool. That little shadow cast in the background right there, right? Now, we need to go back with our 2-inch brush and soften this thing down. And I want you guys to check in. Let me know where you're watching from, because I'm going to come back and read some comments right now, I swear. Right, very lightly, very much the brush flat against the canvas, not out here, because we can't control our pressure like that, right? Very lightly dragging up and then pulling away, and it's not like this and pulling away, right? Pulling the whole brush away from the canvas. That way it cannot drag the paints too far, right? The more that you crisscross, the more that you just graze across these little things, the more little details it's going to take away. See that? Which is why we don't care about these edges and we don't go up the top. Please, okay? Now, you can either start on one of 2 sides. You can come out here and tap into that disturbed area, not our big thick stuff up here. Stay in your softened, disturbed area down there. I'm just going to tap it in, right? You can grip some of this guy and drag it down. Mix this guy up into a little bit of a cloud back. You have this very misty, mysterious bit where we can tell it's going down, right? We can see and it's fading away, so something's going to be standing right in front of it. That's what you need to do if you're going to project distance. You have to soften the bottom, right? If I wanted to come up and put trees right here, boy, I'm going to have a hard time against all that thick paint, right? But if I put the trees down here, where it's as soft here as it is on the untouched canvas, as you can see, it'll be much easier. This is why we do these things, okay? Now, as we're tapping out, each one, this one was a little flatter, then we're getting down. Now we're coming almost vertical down here at the bottom and turning very quickly. You don't want to stay there for too long. Now we'll come in here, tap this little guy, tap it out. Come up here, go over there, over here, over there, into the softened areas. And that way, you can sort of see the snow feeding down, and then we'll be able to pop something else in there, right? Have a big old bit of forest, come down like this, and then over here, up in the front, sealing our mountain back into the background, right? But you have to soften the paint. You have to. You've got to soften this area, because if you try to take our next step and put it on top of all that thick paint, you're going to be in trouble, you guys. You will be irritated. Okay, now let's go back to our dark mix of paint, okay? This is all the color that we scraped off the mountain, which has white in it, which is now tainted, and I don't want that. I'm gonna come back in here for a fresh pile. So do you know the 3 colors that it takes in order to mix up Paint with Josh Black, the deepest, darkest color of all time? And then also, check in one more time. I swear, I'm coming back to read the comments right now. Right? If you want to shout out on your city or state, you better write it in the comments right now, because I'm going to try to read as many as we can. Or your country, right? Read as many as we can. Let's see. Black, blue, and crimson. Black, blue, and crimson, guys. New York, Wyoming, Pennsylvania, Miami, Tennessee, Ireland, Kentucky, Boston, Florida, North Carolina, Randolph, Missouri, New Hampshire, Michigan, Rio, England, Kentucky, Cali, Mass, Alabama, Bahamas, Dublin, North... God, they're coming in way too fast now, you guys, literally. España, the Netherlands and England, Romania, Belfast. You guys are all over the place, bro. You guys are everywhere. Now, let's come out here. We're going to grab our Paint with Josh fan brush. We're going to get a little bit of our titanium white onto the brush first, okay? That way, when we come into this darkness, it will start to mix in and become a darker color. Right? Become lighter than its original darkness, but still yet darker than that fog that we have back here, right? And you can come back and test it, and if it doesn't stand out against that area, then we don't have enough darkness in it, right? If it's too bright, it's just never gonna stand out. Now, all of these trees, you guys, are background trees. So, as of right now, we're not gonna see the bottom of them. We're only focusing on the top edges, right? A little amount of lighter color, the more darkness that you put up there, the harder it's gonna be for our foreground to stand out as being closer. This is why we added a little bit of white to our color. And as you can see, my color is very purpley. It's got a lot of crimson in there, apparently. Right? A lot of crimson and blue and less black into that little pile. Now, how do you paint your trees, Josh? Well, let me show you. We're gonna make a little sharp bit on one side, then go off to the side, a little bit lower, a bit lower. Same thing on this other friend, right? Making basically a little pyramid of tree tops. There's probably about 10 trees right in there, okay? Then we're gonna come up again, make our tall one, go next to it, next to it, next to it, next to it on the way down, right? Then flip the brush, go next to it, next to it, next to it on the way down again. Again, making like a little pyramid. It looks like Galaga, the little spaceship that would fire at the little aliens on Galaga. Exactly like that. Bang, old school. Just prove how old you are, Josh. Just prove how old you are by throwing out an ancient arcade game name. That's okay though, right? Now, we're not really going to focus on the bottom. Like I said, we're only worried about the top, and we don't want to go so close to all of that thick snow. This is why we made that softer area in the back so it would project all that distance. And as you can see, the more we keep mixing down on this guy, there, miss, all that snow. Don't you try to hit it. And if you leave them like that, they look like fence posts, right? If you don't fill it in between, then it doesn't look like a tree. I get this all the time. People send me photos and they go, my trees in the back don't make any sense. Yeah, you gotta fill those guys in. Give a little sharp little tip top, and then the rest on the bottom, just launch in all that color, because we're gonna make all this mist out of it anyway. Right? So, and here's one more tip for you too, okay? One more little tip. The more that you tap onto the brush, onto the canvas, the more it's gonna split the bristles apart. So, you can only really get about 5 to 6 taps on the brush and have it stay sharp, right? Then you'll need to go back, get a little bit more paint, come back over here, 5 or 6 little taps on each side before it starts fattening out so much that it won't make a sharp tip top anymore, right? So you go back and get more paint, fill it in, pop a little weird oddity in between, so they're not, if you have like 2 that are pretty much the same, make one in the middle that's a different height, or 2 or 3 or whatever, just so it's all different across the entire thing. Now, your paint pile is going to get very, very flat. So let's just pick this guy up. Look at all that excess paint we still have. We can now roll our brush down through. More paint on the brush means your trees will be sharper and also darker. The less paint you're using, the less chance that's going to have to go a little bit taller. Yeah! Right? Crazy! Only giving a crap about the top edge. And now we're all pushed back. We didn't even really need to do this whole side or this whole side, but you guys know me. Pineapples in the rose garden over here. Now, let's do one of these things first versus going upright, right? We're gonna angle our brush down. We're gonna tap into it like that, pull it away. I am not dragging it like this, right? Tapping, tapping, tapping. The more I tap into it, the more it's mixing every time, like a little heartbeat, right? So we can tap it down, bring some of the darkness down, getting some light on our brush, bring it back up and down, and up and down, and up and down. Now what are we gonna focus on? We're not going to focus, or we're not gonna make a straight line all the way across, right? So we're here, then we're down, then we're down, then we're up, then we're down, up, down, up, down. Focusing on that line of misty fog. Again, just tapping at the canvas, only using the one top corner right there, right? Hard to show you there. Only using that much of the 2-inch brush to tap into those trees and bring some of that darkness down, right? Tap, 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 tap. Now, if I keep going straight along this edge right here, this is what I'm talking about. If you have a straight line of misty fog, it looks a little funky, right? So go up a little bit, go higher, go lower, go up, go down, come up again, down, up again, down, wherever you want. Literally wherever you want to go, okay? Now, we're going to take that same brush, start mixing it up. And because we added the white into our plaque mix, it's a lot brighter back there. It's not even black, right? It's kind of like light crimsony, purpley brown almost, right? Not as dark as it can be, and that's the goal. We don't want to use just pure plaque mix back here in the distance. Because we're going to use it for our foreground stuff, we're using it in the midground and the foreground. It's just not going to make any sense, right? So now we got this big old forest. Can't tell where the land is yet, right? Don't know. Where do the trees come down and end? Does anybody know? No, you don't know. It's that mystery. We have no idea where these trees are growing from. All we know is there's a big bank of fog covering up the base of all of these trees. Now, after you swipe up, you can literally take these guys and just mix them away. They're so, with that liquid white that's on our canvas, anything that you put on there, if you push hard enough, will disappear, right? That's the best part about having that liquid white on the canvas, is that it makes stuff easier for us, right? It'll be really cool. Now, let's do, yeah. Let's get crazy. We need to mix up some more of our color, and we don't want to use this lighter tainted color anymore. So, get rid of that paint, right? Wipe off our blade, come back in here, 1 part black, 2 parts crimson, 2 parts blue, and we're gonna have our full strength plaque mix right here, right? This is our foreground. We're here, we're waiting. What is it gonna look like, Josh? Tell us. I don't know, give me a second. I literally gotta make it up and paint it right here, and I never make up enough paint. So we're gonna mix up another second pile and just let it feed over into that first pile, because I never make up enough, and you need a lot. Can you see that? Can you see how much? Let me try to catch the glare so you can actually see, right? It's a lot of paint. That's a big, enormous pile. Right? Wipe off our blade, go back to our little fan brush. It's got the dark paint on it, and you can see what happens after you tap it too many times. It starts to fatten out, right? So we're gonna wiggle down, boom. Wiggle down again, wiggle down. We're turning the brush each time, so we're getting the same amount of paint on each side. And as we wiggle it down, it spreads the bristles out and then fills them in and holds them all together, so you get no splits. Okay? Now, out here, let's just say we had one right here. Just because I don't want to go too high up into all that snow, but I do have to go a little bit taller than our background trees, right? Now, you guys tell me, what about this tree as we come at it from this angle like this, tapping just the corner of the brush in, right? The more that you push onto it, the more of a splotch you're gonna make, right? And if you're just using the corner, it'll be very small. Now, by the time we get down here, we need to use the whole brush, pushing against the canvas, kind of back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, getting bigger at the bottom, right? Knowing that we're going to get rid of and cover up the majority of that stuff. So it just has to black out and be darker than our color in the background, which is exactly what makes it stand out. If you said it's darker in its color, then you are 100% correct. Okay? Now let's come back over here. We're gonna wiggle down on more of that dark paint. Wiggle it down, wiggle it down, wiggle it down. We don't necessarily need it like this. to climb all the way up the bristles of the brush to the hazel or the ferrule of the brush, right? That's what's gonna make our tree shape. So if you don't have a lot of paint, it's just little, you're just gonna get little branches that pop off. If you have a lot of paint, you might get a big splotch to come off, okay? So, in fact, let's do this. Let's take our 2-inch brush or your 1-inch brush. We're gonna start up higher up here. We're gonna end down lower, and we're gonna start up higher up here again, making like a very shallow little U shape, okay? So with just a corner of the brush, you can grab it and kind of pull it out this way. Okay? Sliding it out that side. You can see the paint going out, right? I'm getting a little bit lower. You can see this angle is like this. See that angle? Do you see? Right, now we're gonna work from lower up to higher again, so they're equal on the same side, and just having that little bit of lower area right here makes it look like the tree is in front, and then you get all this stuff that we can cover up with our snow and different things like that, right? Now, let's go make a bigger tree. No, you know what? Let's put our snow in. Let's do it. Let's just do it each time we go, right? So we're gonna get our titanium white, another brush, get off of this guy, go this way, right? Just a little bit. We don't need to have too much titanium white, and we don't need to have it be too noticeable or too bright. You can always flick it back up into your tree and kind of blend it out like that. So we got a little snow off our one side, and then we'll go back, get a little touch of blue, a little bit of our white, just a little bluey hue to there. That's perfect right there. All right, a little bluiness. So we travel down this way. And now you can see we've got light coming in, hitting our tree. It's got shadow off the backside of this little ridge over here. And then we can determine how we want to, or how bright do we want to have our snow? How far over does it go over here? Does it reach way out here? You know what I mean? And we just have that little shadow back there. The more you mix it, the more it's going to become less white. So we're determining what it looks like, okay? Now let's go back to our brush. We've got loaded full of that dark paint. We're gonna make this tree just a little bit taller, but not have it like reaching tip to tip out there, right? You almost want to put them in close enough, okay, where you can go right there. Bang. I know that by the time I come down here, these guys are going to intersect and crisscross and block out some stuff, right? You don't want to put your trunk too far away to where you're trying to like, touch tips out there. All right, get out here, and we're going to push on very lightly at first, and then the more we go, the more we push in. There's more pressure against the canvas, right? Pushing in, pushing in, pushing in. The more you do it, the more it's going to start looking like a tree, especially as you get down here at the bottom and start fattening out, extending it, right? These guys will intersect and crisscross, and that's okay. You can literally, this guy, a little bit of that lighter color back up over there, pull it out this way, we can go back and add some more white by the time that we get done as well. Come in, do it right now. Just like that. Fabulous. Right? How far do you want to take out your stuff? You want to have a difference in there for sure, right? You do not want to have it where it's all the same height, right? So have it drop down, little stairs. That's going to help you as far as keeping things perspectively right. Come up here like this. Got a little bit more of our titanium white. There we go. The more you mix that titanium white with the darker undercolor, the darker it wants to get, right? So, we're in control, you guys. I love it. I'm in like with it. We're going to come over here, wiggle down on our paint again. We've got 3 more trees to make, right? One of them lives up here in the front. 2 of them live over here. So let's decide. Let's go like this, right? I don't want to do it up into that snow, but I have no other choice. Bang, I'm gonna pull its trunk down further than these guys. And by doing that, we're going to put this tree in the front of all those little guys. Now, the more you tap in, the more it's going to want to mix. You want to leave that chunky, texturous stuff, right? You want to have that chunk. And the more times you go across it, the more times you're gonna ruin that chunky, texturous feel of all that paint. And so the more times you're dabbing into it, the more times you're taking away that texture. And you need that texture, you guys. You gotta have it in order for the tree to look like it's out here in the front. It's gotta have that texturous feel, right? Doesn't have to be symmetrical. Doesn't have to have little sharp bits that come out. All up to you and what you want your painting to look like every time, right? Literally every time we do it is another chance to do it a bit differently. Now let's really make sure we got enough paint up here. Popping it on. Just for it to be dark, right? We need it to be dark in order for it to stand out as being closest. There. Gorgeous. Now, we're going to do the same thing again, starting back here a little bit higher up, working our way down. At a little angle, roll it out like this. Over here, over there, grabbing this guy very lightly because we don't want the shadow to grow too far into our light side. Again, you can either leave that guy buried in the snow like that, like he's just trying to come out, or brush that little thing away, or whatever you want to do. Go back to a little bit more of your titanium white, grab onto this guy, and just be brighter than the darker shadow is all we're trying to do. There. There. Right? Drag it back towards the tree. Blend these little guys out down here, real rough, lots of pressure. Right? Right? Now, we're going to do one more tree in the front. Do one more over here too. We just don't have the right amount of paint, guys. And the right amount of paint is 100% crucial. So, let's take a little bit more black since we're going to be very much in the foreground of this guy. And then, this is so cool. We got that little bit rolling back here, and then this thing rolling this way. Crisscrossing those angles is really going to help with your perspective as well. Okay, let's go back, grab a little bit more of this darkness. Don't need too much of it. Make this guy a little bit taller. There we go. Right down there, almost all the way down, and then we can decide, do we want to let that trunk go all the way down, right? Very light, popping it on. We gotta push harder. We gotta start extending outwards, right? Making weird little things as we go down. Not every tree is the same. Not every tree is fully covered, right? You wanna have one that shows a little bit of a gap in your trunk. You can do that. You wanna fill it in like a little eagle's nest. You can do that too. You want to go back and fill it all out, you can do that too. It's literally whatever you feel like, however full it is for your brain, right? However dark, however close, up to us, you guys, seriously. How many times do you got to do it? There we go. Come off its back edge, pulling out a little bit of that tree. There, see? Got them sat right up here in the front. And then we'll do one more mega tree, you guys. We're on this side. We'll call it Goodsies, and we'll start to highlight all these guys, right? Highlighting it is big. You cannot, I mean, you could leave it just like a silhouette like that, you know what I mean? And if you're close enough, you can see little details and little branches and little stuff, but it wouldn't really look like that if all this was snow-covered. You would imagine you'd have some snow-covered trees as well, right? So, in order to do that guy, we could do a big old freaking tree trunky deal, which would look really cool. I'm doing it. I don't care. I'm doing it. Let's come over here. Let's go top to bottom. This is one of my favorite trees too. We're gonna have to lose him. There. Boom, boom, boom. Make this guy nice and big, nice and close to us. There we go. He's a big old monster. Right? Because we can't even see the top of this tree, makes it even more enormous. We're almost standing underneath it. Give it a little bit of a wiggle and make it a little thicker on its way down. Right, it fans out a little bit more down here around the base. That's going to be cool. Now, because Josh is a madman, let's put in a little guy that lives right here. He's a little baby. A little baby tree, right? Because we're going to have bushes down here, we don't have to go all the way to the bottom. And because this guy's a little baby, he doesn't even all have to be filled up. He's a little booger. He's a little old booger out there. All up to us every time that we go to do it, guys. Another chance. Do it a little differently. This time, that time, next time, before times, land before time, whatever, right? Little baby. Oh, he's cute. All right, we got that distance in between. Very neat. Very cool. Very cool. I like him. I like him. Now, since we've got all that dark stuff as well, let's come back in here, tap onto all of that thick, crazy paint. Get down in here. There. Little guy's hidden by a bush. Right, this whole big bush hanging out down here, covering up, sealing up the bottom of our painting, right? Allowing us to look like we can just walk through and either choose to go the path less traveled or the path of light, right? Whatever we think is exactly what's going to happen when we go to paint it, okay? Let's do one more little pile of our plaque mix, using up all the rest of the color that we have, because we didn't think it would be this textured, and it just ends up happening, right? Now, let's do one little thing too. We'll throw some branches on this guy. Little of our odorless mineral spirits is going to make the paint much more like watercolor, very runny, very drippy, in which case we can launch off branches, come out of this guy, you can put as many little things on it as you want. You can do whatever you want to do. They can even go down as far as you want them to go down, right? Same thing in here. One little bit, right there. A little bit, off of this side, off of that side. How many little tree branches do you want? Do you want to have foliage on them? Because that's up to you, right? Each time that we do a painting, it's up to us how we do it, where we put these little branches, throw some off that are little weird, little scragglers. It makes it look a lot more realistic, I'm telling you. There, there, over there. All right, should we put some big old branches up on this guy? At least up at the top, don't you think? At least up at the top, for sure. This is fire, bro. Thank you, I appreciate that. I appreciate you out there, okay? Now, let's see, let's pop them up there. We made up all this darkness for a reason. We're gonna come up here, don't get mad at me, okay? Start popping it in, extending out, not trying to cover up all of our little trunky or our branchy thing, right? Getting out there, coming across here, making it so it's harder to see, right? Just a little bit harder to see. We got a little bit of our tree branch out there. You can only see a few little bits of branches. It goes out about that far. Oh, it's just fabulous, you guys. Did you want to pop in a second one or a third? Maybe pop something in. A little old bit of something happening, right? Again, it's all up to us every time that we go to do a painting. Another chance to do it a bit differently, right? Now, let's get to highlighting all of this stuff. We'll really make it pop. That is the goal of our dark shadow base, is to make the rest of our highlights pop against that dark contrast, right? So you gotta have your dark shadow base. Then we're gonna come back in with a little bit of liquid white. Let's do our top tree first, just to show you guys how cool it is. A little liquid white, got no blue. Said I needed more paint. Ultramarine color. This is the Master's Touch paint, by the way. So Master's Touch blue with our liquid white on the end of the brush. And we're gonna go into that Master's Touch. We're gonna try to get a good amount of that paint pile. See, it's already halfway gone. We're just doing one part of our tree up here, right? The blue side, we're gonna tap on these little bits of bluey stuff, little bluey whiteness out here. And the more that we tap on, the more it's gonna overcover all of our darkness, which we do not want. If we're covering over every piece and every bit of our darkness with this blue, it's just not gonna look right, guys. I'm telling you. I'm trying to chill you. A couple little bits off here, little things, little here, little there, whatever, right? A few little bits. Now we're gonna go get that blue off of our brush. We'll go back with our white. And I'll show you that just with two colors over the top of all that darkness, you can have a wicked cool little wintry covered tree. Just literally, guys, literally. Now, let's see, where is my titanium white, which we need? I have that titanium white. We also have to have enough of our liquid white, right? So, get these guys all cleaned up. Then we'll be able to use the same brush to highlight the paint, or to highlight our section as we did with our shadow. You just gotta get that blue off. Come in, a little bit of our liquid white again, just dipping it right into the brush. Right, see, with that little bit of liquid white on there, it's not even covering our whole brush. And then we're gonna need our titanium white, which we seem to be running out of paint today like crazy. Very cool. We're gonna pop this guy out here. It's very Mount Hood reminiscent out here today. In the day. All right, now we'll go back with our liquid white into our titanium white. So we get our liquid white onto the brush, into the titanium white. Not like trying to get a little, I'm trying to get a lot. Just out there on half the brush, right? Top half. All right, come over here, very lightly touch, very light. If you squish too hard, you're gonna ruin everything, okay? If you push it in too much, you're gonna make mud. You ever heard that term? Making mud? It happens. It happens out there. How far do you want your light to crisscross into your shadows? That's up to you, of course. Okay, same thing, we can do our little highlights on our bushies down here. Down like that, just covering one side, not going all the way down to the bottom. And then going back into our blue with our liquid white, into that bluey color. There, all bluey. Bluey. Pop it out there. Not trying to make it too bright or too dark anywhere, really. Then we're gonna need a fan brush to go back and do our pine trees. Our little happy little evergreens out there. So much paint still on the brush. Yeah. This Paint with Josh brush really holds a lot of paint. I'm telling you. Sometimes you gotta wash it out twice. Okay, so now we're gonna switch to a smaller fan brush than the one that we use to create our trees. That is a big reason why my trees look the way they do by the time we get finished. It's because we're using a smaller brush to highlight them with, okay? Let's see. Grab this little guy. Now, in the Paint with Josh brush kit, there comes two fan brushes, one to make your shadows and one to make our highlights and stuff, right? The one we're gonna use to make our highlights is much smaller. We're gonna come out here, just get a little bit of our liquid white onto our brush again, just out there on the tip, don't need to fill it all the way up. Up here into our blue, tap it out. Now, because this blue has a lot of liquid white in it already, it's very faint, right? So this one I might use on my furthest away trees. Just very lightly tap in and not overdo our little Christmas lights. Imagine these like Christmas lights, okay? So we're setting up, we're going around, 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 right? So these guys are tapping down at these angles. Same thing I'll show you off of this big guy up here. Right? By the time we get out here, we're going tap, tap, tap in a little line. Tap, 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 tap. And the more that we're tapping down on these little guys, the more it starts looking like little Christmas lights. And then by the time that we hit it with our white, then it'll really look like a tree. Well, let me show you. Again, let's do the rest of these guys. Okay, so don't leave. Don't go anywhere. Let me clean up this mess I've got real quick. While I'm cleaning this up, you guys just check in. Just tell me where you're watching from. I'm gonna get all this light there. That white paint out of there. Get out of there. You guys just check in, tell me where you're watching from. Where are you from in the world? And then we'll get back over to doing these other guys. Just to show you with two colors, right? You can already see some depth as long as we don't cover up that blue, right? Or that black. It's gonna be our main goal. Now we're gonna come in here, because we just put fresh paint out, this blue should be a little bit darker than our other blue was on our brush, right? And again, if it climbs all the way up your brush, you might have too much paint out there, right? If you're tapping at your tree and it does not deposit off of your brush very easily, then you do not have the correct mix. Now on these bigger ones, look, let me show you. Tap, tap, tap. Tap, 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 tap. Over there, kind of leading up like sloppy Christmas lights, right? Of course, they're not gonna be perfect out there. They never are. Whose Christmas lights are ever perfect? Not mine. Not mine. Here we go. A bit more there. Popping it down. Almost going about 60% across our tree. A little bit more than halfway, okay? The reason that we're doing that is because we're going to crisscross it with our bright highlights, right? So, come in there, tapping onto this little guy. Less liquid white in our brush this time, and that way we can have a darker blue. Boom, boom, boom. Go back over here, a little bit more, because it's not coming off as easy as I want it to, right? So I'm gonna go back and change up my ratio. There we go. Now it's popping off. Again, we're kind of just like Christmas lights. Tap, tap, tap. Leave a space, leave a gap, leave a, you know what I mean? Tap, tap, tap. One more tree, guys, and then we'll throw on the white. If you really want to see it looking good, you're going to want to just stick around just a little longer. Let's get into that blue with our liquid white and the ultramarine blue. Let's come off of this little guy down here. We don't even have to fill him in so much because he's just little, right? Leaving some gaps, even some dark areas in between the blue. You do not want to have your entire side of your tree just be blue, right? That's going to be bad. You want to have that darkness in there as well, in between all those little spaces, okay? Let's plop this guy over here. Looks like we missed one little spot of blue. There, right there. gorgeous. Just gorgeous, right? Little thing out there. Now, gotta go wash off that blue again. Do not want the blue tainting the white side of the tree, otherwise it's not gonna stand out as being different, right? So we take our liquid white, our titanium white. You have to use a mixture of both, you guys. It's probably about a 50-50 mix, honestly. Come down here, let's do our furthest away guy first. Right there. Little things, little things. And look at how they line up, sort of like Christmas lights do. You're going down into the blue, 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 into the blue. Right? Do you see it? Do you see? Do you see the Christmas lights as they are shown right there? Hey, right? How do you want your tree to look? Because every time you do it is another chance. Do it a little differently. Make it a little bit more white, or try to line up your little blobs easier, or put on less paint, or more paint, or whatever it is, right? You're in control of what that tree looks like every time that you go to do it. It's another chance for you to do it a little bit differently. Put on a little too much on those back guys. You gotta tap over them a little, just so it looks further away. Do not want it to be as close or as many details on those farther away trees as we do on these closer trees, right? So again, a little liquid white, little titanium white, tap it onto the top, then hit it with just the corner as softly as you can. Not trying to push in too hard, and then by the time we get down here, we have to push in a bit harder in order for those little things to keep dropping off, right? The more they keep dropping off, the more the brush turns into a darker color, right? Because we're just using that one corner on the bottom to smack at it, so that bottom corner gets very dark, right? I bet you we could even use this brush to try to get our other little guy at least half big. There, right? Just kind of bouncing back and forth, leading them back down into their little dudes, little doofers over here. And the more we push on, the more paint is going to drop off, the brighter it's going to be, and the more little details that are going to pop out of our tree like that. Isn't that cool? Isn't that just the cutest, you guys? Isn't it the cutest? Just go back over heavy areas a little bit more, and it'll turn your tree into something a bit darker. Right now, obviously, you cannot cover all of the dark parts of the tree, or you will not be able to reach in and find anything, right? It's always our goal. We want to be able to reach into the tree and find our ball that we threw to the dog, or whatever, right? You have to have those dark spaces, otherwise you're not going to be able to reach in. You're just going to reach into a snow-covered, spiny little thing, and that's going to hurt our little fingies. So we don't want to do that, right? Very cool, guys, I'm telling you. Tell me that's not a tree out there. All right, come off of this little guy. Let's go load up our brush one more time, just because always got to have the right amount of paint. That's number one. And then we'll put our tree trunk on this big guy and really show you something cool, guys. Right? Again, don't need to have too many. And then kind of crisscross over into your blue side just a little. So it's not a perfectly straight line. Doesn't that look cool? Doesn't that look cool, guys? I agree. There. Put too much on it, you're not going to like it. So you got to know when to stop. That's a main goal. Knowing when to quit. Just quit it out there, okay? I remember, we're going to get a little bit of our blue down here. Little teeny tiny touch of our liquid white. I'm talking about the smallest bit you could possibly use, just to allow it to come off a little bit easier off of our blade and stick to our canvas out there. Right? And we want it to be the darkest blue so far. So it needs to be darker than our light blue, darker than that blue, darker than that blue, darker than that blue, darker than this blue, almost about the same as that guy over there. He's the furthest away from our light. So being darker is going to make it look like it is closer to me anyway, okay? We're gonna come out here, we're gonna scrape up a little bit of that blue in a little roll, just like we always do. Come off the back side of our tree and just kind of tap at it, right? If you're just tapping and letting it go down, right? You're gonna leave a whole big ridge of paint. And we're gonna go back, we're gonna tap onto that ridge, and then tap away, right? Tap away from it, and spreading it out so it's not all the same bit, okay? We do not need to have it be extremely thick and textured up here. But the more paint that you put up there, the more it's going to feel like real tree bark by the time that we get done. Now, as you can see, we're going about 60% over from the right side, which is the shadow side. into the light side, which is our bright side. And the reason that we do that is so that we can then come back and 60% over with our highlights on the other side. Okay, so again, we'll fill up our little top area, just more than half, right out here to the edge, and just leave it nice and goopy, right? Literally going like this. I'm gonna show you right here in this area, okay? We're just tapping, 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 tapping. Then going back and tapping onto that and moving over. Move it over and tapping, tapping, tapping. Automatically, it starts looking like tree bark just from us mushing some paint on there, right? So now we're gonna go back to our titanium white that has just the smallest amount of our liquid white in it, again, just to help it come off the blade and stick onto our tree. Scoop up a little bit, start out here on the edge, tap down, right? Come back, leave a space, go over your shadowy side a little bit, and then just very lightly kind of fill these guys in together. Bang, bang, bang. That way, they're not all perfect, right? Start getting your light. You can even tap over a little bit, or over, and leave a gap, right? Or leave a disconnection, some weird oddity, filling in the front. Makes it look more and more like tree bark. Now, obviously, we're not streaking down, we're tapping, 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 creating this really cool bit of tree, guys. Isn't that amazing? Literally tap, tap, tap. We're just gonna work this guy back across, back and forth, leaving little bits. The shadows don't even have to line up, honestly. But you do have to have one part of your tree in the shadow, one part in the light. And if you wanna try to get crazy, you can try to put a little touch of highlight on those guys, right? Don't wanna do too dang much, I'm telling you. And maybe off our back edge, if we can get a little touch of blue. There, just little bit. Right? And that's going to help our brain go, hey, there's a bit of shadow, a bit of snow hanging on the top of that guy or whatever, right? These guys up here that are very thin, don't even worry about it. Don't try to do it over your already textured stuff. And by the time we get down here in the front, this is my favorite part. We turn the point of the knife into the thing and start scraping from our dark areas, little sticks and twigs that are holding up all of these little bits of flowers, right? Just fantastic, you guys. So, you guys start coming up with a title for this one. Let me know just how much you'll love it. Right? Come up with a title for me. There, right there. One little touch on the edge. Guys, I like this one. This one is gorgeous. It's available right on the homepage of paintwithjosh.com. You just gotta be the first person there to get it. If you're the first person there, then you're in luck. You are in luck, you guys. I love this one so much. More of our white, and you can always go back and add, you know what I mean? It's all up to you. How your trees look, the angles, the brightness, the stuff. Every bit of it is up to you guys. Even how thick you want to lay the snow on, totally up to you. You want to lay it on really heavy? Lay it on really heavy. Pull on it and soften it up. Pull on it and soften it up. It's all up us every time. There. Every single time, you guys. That is so cool. Okay, you guys start coming up with a title. I'm going to wash off these brushes. And then I was hoping somebody was going to grab this one and force me to come back for a second show. But if not, then that's okay. I guess you don't want to watch me paint anymore. That's fine. That's just fine and dandy. Okay. Now remember, this one is right on the home page, so you don't even have to go very far. All you gotta do is go look at it. If you like it, check out, come back and tell us what to call it, and win a free gift off the Spinny Winnie Wheel, which is everyone's favorite gifting wheel. Perfection. Scrape up this stuff right here. So like I said, if you want to be the proud owner of this one, you just go over to my place. I'll tell you how to get there. And it's basically, it's me, it's Paint with Josh. That's all you gotta do. Head over there, check it out. And then we'll be all perfection. Okay, wipe that guy off. Put that back there. Here. Did a really cool class earlier today, and you guys know my limit about how many paintings we do in a day. So, awesome class earlier today with 2 Ambers. Can you believe it? They're like, oh, one lady was named Amber, and she was bringing in her friend to come do a painting class with her. I'm like, oh, cool. So it took me way too long to ask what the other friend's name was. I was like, oh, what's your name again, by the way? I know Amber, but what's your name? She goes, Amber. And I'm like, you guys are both Ambers? You got two Ambers in the studio right now? That's kind of wild. We had an awesome time painting the Oregon coast seascape that everybody loves, and they did excellently. It was one of the Ambers' first time, and she did a really awesome job. Came out fabulously. Let's throw our birds back in here. In the night. Man, those are cool. Okay. Yes! We gotta get switched to our liquid white to throw the signature in. But you guys come up with a title. Let me know what you want to call this guy. What do you think it should be called as we pop in the old JK right back here? Very small and indistinct. Nice. Nice. Sometimes putting the signature in the right place really makes the painting, right? Otherwise it's just out there in the open and you're just looking at it. It really makes it to put it back like that. Look at Mount Hood back there in the distance, you guys. She is gorgeous. Mount Hood, speaking of Mount Hood, which is this mountain right here, it's just the backside of Mount Hood, and we're going to be doing a Mount Hood class at Mount Hood Town Hall. Matter of fact, Mount Hood Town Hall is going to be having Paint with Josh and Danny from Happily Painted over there. We're going to be doing a co-painting class. It's going to be really awesome. So if you're in the Mount Hood area, or Hood River, or Parkdale, check out the site and find the info for that. That's going to be a good time. That's over on Happily Painted. That's their site, not my site, right? Don't go to Paint with Josh looking for that. You're going to go to Happily Painted in order to find the Mount Hood class info and be able to sign up over there, right? Hello, somebody just got something. 2 items from the store. You guys are amazing. Someone asked how to get this one. You literally, like I said, all you have to do is go to Paint with Josh. And then this is the very first thing that you'll see. It's painting number, not the price, but the number of paintings I've done in my career, 2053, I believe, is this painting. I'm pretty sure. The mods might have to correct me. Maybe it's 54. Guys, what is it? I can't even remember anymore. Honestly. A snowy winter. I am reading the comments, you silly. Paint your dream world. Oh, don't. Whispering Pines, Misty Mountains. Sorry that I'm trying to do 10 different things up here and read all the comments. Appreciate you. Frosty and Flocked. I like that one, guys. I like it. Remember, if you want to grab this one, you can pick the title by the time that we get done, right? If it becomes yours, you choose the title. Come back and tell us, and we get to do a light party, and you get a free gift off the spinning winning wheel. I mean, there's nothing better. There ain't nothing better than that. Yeah. Right, sometimes. Oof. Oh, I love it. Oh, I love him. Okay, you guys. Let me know what we should call this guy. And if you like it enough, you can head over to my place, paintjosh.com. You can find it. It's there. All you got to do is look. Use little eyeballs and look for it. Right there. That's good. Now I got to wash off another brush. Yet another brush. To be washed. Even though we've already washed it and put it away. Pull it out, wash it. Okay. So what do we got, guys? Let's pick a title together. Let's choose what we're going to do. And let me look at what the order was that came in over here. Watching South Park. Let's see. Boom, boom, boom. Jeffrey. I like it. Got 2 painting classes. Wicked. Said he was going to do that, so that's cool. He might not even be watching. It's just somebody that booked a couple painting classes here in the studio. So, you guys are awesome. Trees in the Winter, Winter's Trail. I like that. Frosty Peak is a great title. Literally. Piece of the Valley. I like that. Mount Majestic. Nobody wants to call this one Mount Hood. The trail to Mount Hood. The trail less taken, the path more light. I don't know. This is why I depend on you guys to come up with all the titles, right? So, in preparation of choosing one, we're going to take the easel, take the paint, and get it ready to flip Frosty Mountains, Reaching the peak. I like that. I like that. Fabio. Let's pin this one. Let's go with that. All right, we'll go with reaching the peak. I like it, my friend. Okay, let's flip this guy around. Do the whole top of the canvas up here. Covering up my unpainted area. There. Perfection. Over like that. Plop it up in here. Remember, you guys get the original, right? The first person that's there gets to have the original. And all you gotta do is go snag it up. Just like that. Oh, mods, I'm lost on the number. Does anybody know the number that we're on before I have to go double check and look what the number was? Anybody? I can look. It's okay. Oh, where is it? 2053. Thank you. Perfect. Yeah. So, if you like this one, grab number 2053. We're going to call it Reaching the Peak. I like that, guys. Reaching the peak. Perfect. Painted on 9/13/2013. We're all going to go to paintwithjosh.com because it's the best place out there. Very cool. You can find all sorts of stuff, more than paintings, prints, posters, puzzles, hats, shirts, merch, all sorts of things over there in the... You guys are cool. So, let's just see, my friends. I want to thank you guys for being here, watching the show come to life. Everybody over on the tube, I can't wait to see your version of this painting. So send it in to me, to my Book of Faces, right? It's called, my page is called @officialpaintwithjosh. You put the little @ symbol, and you type in official paint with Josh, or just search official paint with Josh, and then it'll pull up my page of 441,000. I have the little blue check mark, so make sure you're sending it to the right Paint with Josh. I've started to notice a drop off in my interaction, and I go looking around, and there's like 4 other Paint with Josh pages. All of my regulars are commenting on their stuff because they're taking my videos and posting it on their own page. And I'm like, guys, this is a fake page. Like, come back to the real page. Look for the blue check. Verified, real one. No one pays attention to that anymore. So, I love you guys. Can't wait to see your versions. Send them in. And until I see you guys again next time, take care. Have the rest of a good day. And blah, bow. Baloosh. Man, this one came out cool. This one came out cool.